Hi there, girls. Mr. Gilmore here again, and today we're going to be looking at factorization. So it is the 12th of April, and this will be very much revision for some of you. For some of you, this is going to be blindingly easy. For some of you, it will be a little bit of a challenge. Probably one of the things I most learned from that last set of work that I gave you girls is just I can never really take anything for granted. We can never just assume everyone knows something. So, for factorization, we're going to kind of go back to basics a little bit. For some of you, this will be really easy. For some of you, this will be kind of hard. Feel free to contact me if you do have any questions. So, what will we need to know before this class? Well, we will all need to know how to find the highest common factor of two numbers. So highest common factor, that's the largest number that will divide the two numbers that we're dealing with. And we need to also be able to do that algebraically. I've also referred to this as HCF, for highest common factor. I'll use that notation quite a lot, so I'm just flagging it with you early on. And then what will you learn? Well, really just how to factorize a simple linear expression. We're not going to be doing anything fancy in this class. What we're hoping to do is that everyone, by the end, probably the next week or two, everyone feels confident factorizing a quadratic. If I get to that point, we're doing great, okay? But also, in the process of doing that, we'll also be prepared for the other questions that might be brought up of, kind of more simple linear expression kind of questions. So, let's begin by just looking at finding the highest common factor of two numbers, okay? So, what is the largest number that divides both 9 and 12? Well, that's fairly straightforward. You can go, okay, 9 is divided into 3 and 3. 12 is divided into 4 and 3. So, okay, the highest common factor is 3 for both of them. Largest common factor, yeah. Okay. So, the highest common factor of 9 and 12, just 3. Nothing huge and wild. Now, what it gets more difficult with is when we start to look at it with algebra. So, okay, we can go, again, we can realize 3 is definitely the number part of this. So, highest common factor of 3 and 12. And kind of the trick of this is you can just look at the highest common factor of the coefficient, the number before the algebraic expression, and then you can just look at the highest common factors of each of the algebraic expressions. So kind of we're going to go through it one by one, and we're going to go, okay, what's the highest common factor of 3 and 12? What's the highest common factor of x and x squared? And, well, y won't pop up into the highest common factor because this doesn't divide by y, does it? So, 3 and 12, what's the highest common factor of 3 and 12? Well, 3, obviously. Then, what is the highest common factor of x and x squared? Well, we can go, wait a second, x and x squared, that would be x. X divides x, and x divides x squared. Anything larger than x wouldn't divide x, obviously, so pop that in there. And then y, okay, no y there. So, when we find the highest common factor, that's just 3x. Great. And then finally, we're going to do the same thing with 2x, and that actually was supposed to be 4xy. I'm going to quickly change that to 4xy. Great. And we know, okay, 2 and 4. What's the highest common factor of 2 and 4? Well, that is 2, obviously. So minus 2 and 4, obviously, but yeah, minus 2 and 4. Highest common factor is 2. Why are we ignoring the minus? Well, we're ignoring the minus because if we didn't ignore the minus, it wouldn't be the highest common factor, it would be kind of the lowest common factor. X and xy, well, you can see x divides both x and xy, so highest common factor, 2x. Okay, so that was a quick refresher on finding highest common factors with algebraic expressions. Now we're going to use this knowledge to factorize these numbers. So how do we factorize them? Well, what we're trying to do is we're trying to find an expression for this original expression where we've got the highest common factor on the outside and it's as simple as it can be within the brackets, okay? So what is the highest common factor of 12 and 24? That's 12, right? So 12 divides 12, 12 divides 24, so 12. Can we divide both x and y by anything? We really can't. So again, we're just doing that process of looking at first the coefficients and then the variables. So 12x and 12 here. So we need a number that when multiplied by 12 will make 12x. Well, that'll obviously be x. And we need a number here. So we need a number like here that when multiplied by 12 is going to give us minus 24y. So another way of looking at this is, okay, I've kind of seen how, like if I wanted to group these together, if I wanted to get rid of these coefficients and get rid of them as much as possible. If I saw, okay, how many groups of, like how many, if I was to break this into 12 different groups, how much would I have in each group? 12 equal groups, well, you'd have minus 2y, wouldn't you? So you can kind of divide the coefficient by the value we're multiplying by. And don't worry, I'll be giving you girls other work to do on this, and you can give it a try. If you have any trouble with it, no problem. I will still ask that you attempt it, upload it for me, and then what we'll do is we'll have kind of a normal kind of digital class on both Wednesdays and Fridays from now on, just so that we can keep on kind of checking over stuff, making sure everyone is on the same page and whatnot. Okay, so how would we factorize this next one? How would we group this up? Well, okay, we've got an A in both sections, but we can't really, that is the highest common factor, isn't it? A is the highest common factor of both of these. So AB divided by A is just B. AY divided by A is just Y. Great. And now one last example. X squared plus 4x. Well, what are the highest common factors of this? So we can realize, okay, there's nothing in the coefficient section for the first one. So the coefficient, like that'll just be 1 here. And then we're going to look at the variable section. Okay, what's the highest common factor of x squared and x? Well, that's just going to be x. And as I've said before, we don't need the 1 in front of an x. So we can kind of just eliminate that afterwards. Because the 1's just redundant. 1x by itself is the same as 1x. Okay, and now what is going to be inside our brackets? Well, it's going to be x squared divided by x. That'll just be x. And then 4x divided by x. That's just going to be 4. Great. So these are actually some of the questions I'm going to give you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a set of questions. And you're not actually going to know which of the homework questions are the ones that I did as an example. I'm mainly doing this just to make sure that people continue on watching the videos, continue on kind of giving feedback and engaging with the class. So if you do get any of the wrong ones for the ones that I've actually shown you in the video, I'll know you're not watching the videos. And I'll be able to flag that with you. So on page 54 of your book, let's do questions 2, 3, 7, 11, 15, 20, 23, 26, and 32. Great. So thank you very much, girls. Hopefully you have no great problems with this. If you do, as always, you are 100% free to contact me. And if you don't, well, fantastic. Have it up as soon as you can. Deadline for this is going to be 3 p.m. on Tuesday. So tomorrow. Okay? Thank you very much. Bye bye bye.